This is the Suplex Assassin, the Hoe Thrower, your MLW World Champion. And you are watching Cole TV, and that is on Boomaye! 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 Let's go.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling 60, where we cover everything that happened this past week in the world of professional wrestling. I'm XLJ, the OG, joined by my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, this week hailing from beautiful San Jose, California, one Mr. B-Roll.
How are we doing out there, world? Oh man, what a week.
Pretty boring week, actually. We'll probably be done with less than 5 minutes or less.
Professional wrestling it has been. I'm going to give this episode a little bit of a disclaimer. We may go off on the rails a little bit. We may stay on topics.
We don't know.
Certain topics.
We don't know until we get into it.
We don't know until we get into it. This could be the best episode of PW60, or it could be the absolute worst.
You stop that.
Yeah,
stop it.
But with that being said, it ain't official till I make it official, and the clock starts now. Let's get into our top story for the week.
3 minutes later. No, I just kidding. I love you, buddy. Yeah, and this story this week, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? I mean, God almighty, we've been talking about this forever, and it's just like, nah, you think of like millions of different scenarios of how the hell this was going to go down. Of course, we're talking Survivor Series. And I mean, it's just crazy because it was like I was shocked when this happened, but I was not shocked, But I mean, it just hit me just like, wow, this is it. This is really happening. Of course, it's set the entire IWC ablaze. I mean, it's all everybody's talking about. It's arguably the biggest story of the year, Mr. B-Roll. I mean, and we're talking the same year that the WWE was purchased, the same year that All In happened in London. I mean, is it the biggest return in professional wrestling of all time?
To give a quote of what Jey Uso said when he saw that J.D. McDonough was about to get RKO'd from the top. Oh shit!
Yeah. So I mean, we've talked about this for weeks, months, in the beginning of this show all the way to now. But folks, it's finally happened. Yes, folks, R-Truth has returned to the WWE. We have been waiting for this for it seems like a lifetime, an absolute lifetime. And you know what I loved about it is how they brought him into. I mean, with the ruffles have ridges ad. I mean, could you ask for a more perfect return?
No, I mean, honestly, you couldn't. I mean, I instantaneously was ready to go buy some ruffles, like from my local gas station. I mean, between him and Otis being on the screen there, I mean, it was just
this is
magical goodness.
Folks, this is one of these moments that you're going to rewatch over and over again. It's going to be like on some of the greatest returns, greatest video packages of all time in WWE history was R-Truth returning to Survivor Series. But you know what, Mr. B-Roll? He wasn't the only one that returned to Survivor Series. Oh, yeah. CM Punk's back in WWE.
We got you.
So it's happened, folks. Yes. CM Punk has returned home
to wait.
The WWE.
Is this our real top story, or is R-Truth our top story?
I think you know the answer to that.
Okay.
As everybody else wants.
You know, just I was asking for a friend. That's all. Like,
Uh-huh.
Okay, let me put it to you this way about. Now, I
The
was telling you this. I was telling you
the
this before we
importance
got.
of like and how huge this is. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I have a good friend. He's actually been on an episode of Cole Cast before. When we were talking about some dinosaurs, cheap plug there. It's available on the Cole
Like
TV.
first things we ever did
Yeah,
so
one of the
long
very
ago.
first thing. He'll probably kill me if I say his name, but I'll just go with his on screen. I think we called him just Alex or something.
Yep.
I think that's
Just
what we
out.
called him. But I got a text from my good friend, and he was like, "Dude, CM Punk's back in WWE."
Yep.
And he was like, "What's going on? Like, are they desperate or which?" Now, mind you, he used to be a pro wrestling fan growing up and hasn't kept up with it for years now. But this is like only like a handful of times he said something to me when Jeff Hardy returned or had went over to AEW, and then
Then this.
then this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
a
mean, this
non
is.
a non wrestling fan, you could say.
I mean, dude, I haven't been able to scroll through TikTok in the past 24 hours on my feed or whatever you hell you call that, and it's like every other video. I swear to God, it's something about Punk. Like it's just nuts. But I mean, it got a response, and I mean, I think at the end of the day, ultimately, it was inevitable. We kind of knew this was going to happen at some point. Honestly, for me, I'm happy in a sense that like, okay, no more speculation or bullshit about what he's going to do, where he's going to go. He could show up here, there, everywhere. Um, so I think that aspect of it, and he's at the end of the day, love him or hate him, he's a huge draw, man. You can't
Yeah.
deny that. And I feel like I've said this before, and I'll say it again. With his run in AEW, how it ended, that's forever tarnished his legacy. He's very lucky in the sense that he has another chance here to kind of remedy like what that run in AEW.
Yeah.
And I feel like, this is it. I think he's going to, and I think too with on the flip side of that, playing the devil's advocate here, I mean, he's in a system that's a lot more of a controlled environment than what AEW is. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I definitely think so. And honestly, I don't want to really get in too much to my thoughts on this because I really don't. We don't really know. I'll say this, and I think I had told you this. CM Punk being back in WWE, CM Punk when he came back to AEW for Collision, it doesn't really move the needle that much for me. Um, I I never have like necessarily liked Punk. I've never really also, well, I guess I can't really say never disliked him, because with some of the crap that went down, I will
Well,
say there was probably some dislike there, but
it's one of those things too. You gotta look at like your wrestling fandom, and you're still young on your journey. And like when you came in, like all you really knew is like Punk and AEW, and like you knew Punk about this legacy he built the WWE, etc.
mhm,
Um,
yeah,
so it's that
um,
there's that kind of the flip side of things. I think for you as well. I mean, for me, I agree. I don't love Punk. I don't hate Punk. I mean, I'm like you. I got tired of talking about him all this
mhm,
year. But like I say, I wish him well. I hope this is going to work because this is the thing I'm concerned about. What's it going to do to that WWE locker room? And holy shit, yeah, we're already hearing a ton of stories. But the thing of it is, B-roll, this is truly like I don't know if you really break this down. Um, is this a work? Is this? I don't know. I feel like because of some things I've read in the past. Like, let's talk about first and foremost, the biggest reaction by far was Seth Rollins. Like,
yes,
and that was like I've watched that clip probably like 20 times since then. I mean, it's just like
I'm
it's so out.
gonna, yeah, because it got into our group chat pretty quick after it happened. I'm gonna give a shout out to though most of the people who know him as Brock Lesnar guy. He had a great video of it because they were right by the ramp too, and his stayed with it a little longer than some of the other ones I had seen. So I would I would definitely recommend go check that one out. Everybody knows who that Brock Lesnar guy is, so
Yeah.
give him a little shout out, give him some love. But
But yeah, you're right. Like you could see a little bit more. You can also see inside the cage with Randy and Jay too, and they're kind of joking around. It looked like, so it meant no big deal. Although there's also a footage I've seen of Randy Orton sitting down on a cage and kind of doing the mocking the CM Punk like it's clobbering time thing. And of course, we could all see Rhea Ripley or Mommy's reaction here, flipping the bird. And then doing the mocking CM Punk thing with as well, like with the it's clobbering time. Um, I don't know. Rhea was one that was kind of like I think the reason why she was pissed, and we're gonna get into this, is because it was taken away from like this tremendous War Games match. I think that's why she was kind of pissed, and it was just like, really,
yeah,
for this
I
this
mean,
fucking guy.
with some of the reactions, and we don't really know.
Yeah, it could have
Like,
been she was just playing off of it, so
I mean,
obviously to get some
she's
more.
a heel. I mean,
Yeah,
she's a
exactly.
heel,
Exactly.
and
Now let's talk about the Drew incident because we didn't see this. This is all hearsay. But what we know is apparently Drew McIntyre stormed out of the War Games match. Uh, Ended up like went to the back, caused kind of a ruckus, was very verbal and loud, slamming things and whatnot, and then just pretty much left the arena. That was it. I'm wondering if that's playing it more to like a storyline with the Judgment Day because he's pissed because they lost the match. Um, I don't know. Like, I don't know if Drew and there's obviously going around like, okay, Drew's still a free agent. They may not. Maybe this pisses off. They signed Punk, and I don't know.
yeah,
But like, already we've got three different, or actually four when you count Randy, isolated incidents here of just this reaction to Punk. So,
but
do
I'll
you think
say
it's in
this.
good? Do you think it's in good taste if this is all like a work to kind of play off that, or you think maybe if they are playing off that, it's because it's like, well, there's this story and they know what the IWC is going to do and to piss off AEW.
I just, who really knows?
And that's the beautiful thing about pro wrestling when when
Yes,
storytelling's done like this, it's like you just don't know.
yeah. I think with Drew, I think it's a lot of always a bridesmaid, never a bride,
Yeah,
type of deal.
yeah, I agree with
Um,
that.
and I wouldn't be surprised if during the fallout of this, if we get something into that type of storyline. I'll say this: the photo of him and Triple H is honestly just hilarious. Like
Yeah, like
the look on their faces is just like I think
holy shit, is this real?
Triple H even put on his Twitter that it was a cold day in hell or something.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
that. I saw that. And yeah, it definitely was. But you know what? I was reading another factoid. It's very interesting. Like, pretty much Triple H has been able to bring back Bruno Sammartino. He's been able to bring back the Ultimate Warrior and now CM Punk. And it's just like he brings back these guys who who have these bitter hatred towards the WWE, and you don't ever think you'd see them in the WWE again. And
y-
here we
yeah,
go.
and I will say this because I have heard, like you said, on social media, you go on there. I mean, because we all know some of the things that Punk has said, about WWE and everything. Um, and I'll say this to give credit where it's due. That was WWE under Vincent Kennedy McMahon. We are in a new era now.
Yeah, and I think that's
So
honestly too. That's one thing we haven't really talked about. I think if Vince was still running things in the role he was, I don't know if Punk would come back. So
yeah,
I don't know, maybe not. Who knows? Who knows? But you know what? we can talk about what ifs, folks, but at the end of the day, CM Punk is
Speculation,
back
yep.
in the WWE. Well, our PW60 family has got quite a bit of thoughts on this whole CM Punk in WWE now that he's returned back home, so to speak. So we know we got to go to a man who has all the hot takes here in PW60. Let's go to Husky with a hot take.
So, it happened. CM Punk crawled on his knees like a bitch back to WWE just to be a petty asshole to AEW. You know what? I was going to scream about it, but I don't want to give him that kind of energy, so I'm just going to say this. CM Punk is Hulk Hogan without the racism. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
The immortal words of Chris Tucker. Damn! That was pretty brutal, but like, I mean, he ain't wrong, is he, B-roll?
No, he's bringing the heat. They call him hot takes for a reason, folks.
That's
And
right.
I've seen messages from that man, and yeah, he just hot take. That's how he really feels. So,
Yep. Hey, speaking of how people feel, how do you think Tony Khan feels about all this?
oh, I don't even know if I really want to get into that
Right?
wormhole.
But do you kind of feel for the guy though, right? I mean, he spent all this money to bring back Punk in, and I mean, I feel like he needs some type of support system, don't you think? I mean, I'm sure he's got one, but I could think of a really great support system. Our good friend, the Best Scout Machine, has decided to show his support to Tony Khan. Check this out.
Tony, baby, Daddy Khan, I'm here to just sort of ease your pain. Do you want me to dance for you? I can shimmy and shake with the best of them. Would you like me to play some, like, music for you? So I know you love your country music, especially Shania Twain! You know what? How about some comfort food? How about a little bit of leftover Thanksgiving? I got me some turkey, some ham, and some jellied cranberry sauce. Don't you dare tell me you don't want jellied cranberry sauce. Okay, no, we'll just play some music. We'll play some music. Okay, what's on my Spotify playlist? Ooh, Living Color. Oh, never mind. No. How about we both be each other's Secret Santa? I wonder who I'll get. Let's stop playing games. I know you love me. That's not taking your mind off of Punk, huh? So, Jack Perry's the devil, right? Let's play Fight Forever on what? Oh yeah, no one likes that game. All right, it's settled. We're going to watch Christmas Vacation. With the friends to call my own, I'll never be alone. And in time, my friend, you'll see, you've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. I'm really bad at consoling people. Good night, America.
Oh, Best Scout, you're a great consoler, buddy. One of the best there is. Speaking of the best there is, you know, Punk and R-Truth weren't the only returns we got to see at Survivor Series. We got to see the return of the Apex Predator himself, Randy Orton. The Viper is back, and B-roll, he looked like $1 million, man. Like, he is jacked, man. Look at them abs. Look at the upper body. It's like crazy. This man's like over 40 years old. Can you believe it?
Man, oh man, the Viper, the Apex Predator is back. Let me ask you this: how did you like the storyline of them, like, all night? Like, is he gonna show up? Bada bada ba.
Okay with it. I know some people were kind of like, "Oh, really?" But I loved the fact that like that. First of all, he got a huge pop when he came out, but I love the. I think maybe part of it was done too because there's still like. There were still people like, oh God, what if Punk shows up? Or to add to the mystery of he really was the fifth man,
Yeah.
I think. But
So,
it's okay with it.
we talked a lot about earlier about Seth's reaction and how we feel like that could lead to something, right?
Mhm.
I could also see in a world where
Oh,
there's a storyline there.
Randy Orton Punk.
Randy Orton Punk, and like, what if Cody? It's a stretch, but what if Cody had called Punk because he thought Randy wasn't actually going to show up?
Now that would be an interesting storyline, but we'll have to wait and see here on Monday Night Raw. But of course, Randy Orton had to be our wrestler of the week here on PW60. It's so great to see him again, like I say. And honestly, man, 18 months ago, we didn't know if we'd ever get to see Randy inside of a ring.
Yeah,
But
honestly,
thankfully, we got
in
to see him.
in my time being a fan, this is like really actually the first time where I've been like super, invested and deep into professional wrestling, where I've seen him live.
Yeah. Yeah. And he looked amazing in the matchup, too, as well. And let's talk
Oh,
about the men's war games, man. So many awesome spots in this one, man.
that
Um,
RKO.
That
Oh,
RKO, yeah, the finish, holy shit! RKO from the cage where he essentially catches him. That's
so
pretty sick.
I do have a question though. I,
Yeah.
they should have just pinned JD McDonough right then and there. I don't know why Priest had to take the pin there. I gotta be honest. That kind of grinded my gears a little bit
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but that's
because
true.
JD McDonough was clearly done for.
Yeah, he's not getting up. Um, Also, kind of going back to Randy's entrance, I also think it helped a lot too because like they teased that cash in, which we thought for sure was going to happen there, and then of course Randy Orton's music hits, so I think that added a lot to it. And I love that element of the match too that they did in fact tease the cash in. I also loved, man, like the DDT that everybody did at the same time. That was pretty dope. That was a pretty dope spot. And then
Yes.
also, we gotta talk about, teasing Randy teasing like he was gonna go after Jay essentially. Um,
Yeah.
All in all, I thought the men's War Games match
Yeah.
was awesome. I think it had the biggest moments of the night by far.
I still think it would have been cool, even if at like the end of the night, like Judgment Day would have been in the cage, and like somehow Seth got left in there with them. Like, I feel
Well,
like,
I think because of the plans, obviously,
yeah,
like, you're not gonna end the show any other way than Punk coming out. So
you know,
But
you
that
know,
but the great War Games matchup, but wasn't the only War Games match at Survivor Series. And yes, you can see the Avengers, as I think somebody in the press conference put it, victorious over the Judgment Day
Team
in the men's War
Babyface,
Games.
Team
Team
Babyface won.
Babyface.
Speaking of
Let's talk
Team
about this
Babyface,
woman's War Games matchup with Damage Control going up against Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Shotzi. I thought it was a great opener. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. My biggest takeaway from this match, the MVP of this matchup for me by far, was Bailey. Bailey killed it in this matchup. Her, making the sacrifices for Damage Control throughout it and stuff, and the finish of this. You want to talk about like wonky finishes? Like, I honestly was more okay with the men's than the women's with the finish. I thought like just the man handle slam on the fucking rock bottom, in other words, through the table. I just was like, and I mean, it didn't look. I don't know. I'm nitpicking here at this point, I guess, but I wasn't a huge fan of the finish of the woman's War Games.
yeah.
Okay
Let
with Bayley taking the pin, but
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. This is going to be a super serious question.
Mhm.
What do you think is more lethal of a weapon? Bianca's hair, you know how she was like, whipping them with them, or Shotzi's spikes that like looks
Oh,
like they could like
the Bianca's
stab.
hair, dude, that thing leaves freaking welts, man. It's like sick.
I don't know. Those spikes
Man,
look like they could.
speaking of
Oh,
Shotzi, man, she took some hard shots in this one. She was bleeding after some of the shots. Like Kari Sane when she was doing like the freaking back fist like with the trash can lid, like that spot was crazy. Of course, Io Sky jumping off the top of the cage as well. And they teased the back and forth between Becky and Charlotte. Now it looks like they're kind of becoming besties again. So, um, like I say, I really enjoyed the women's War Games. I think this year's War Games matches were fun. If you want me to be completely honest, I do think the story from last year, especially with the Bloodline thing, was a little bit more
Yes.
interesting. If I'm nitpicking, but all in
Agreed.
all,
Agreed.
great War Games matches, I thought. But that wasn't all we got to see at Survivor Series, as we got to see Mommy herself, Rhea Ripley, defend her women's championship against Zoe Stark. I love this matchup, honestly. I thought this was a great matchup. I kind of wish they would have had a little bit more time. Rhea's gear was sick, by the
Yeah.
way.
I feel
By the way,
like
all Judgment Day's gear was sick at Survivor Series. It
yes,
was
I feel
awesome.
like wishing they had a little bit more time is going to be a reoccurring thing with the matches that were on this card. But I mean, like we had talked about before, I mean, when you got matches like War Games and you have that time period of where you're just getting all the competitors into the
Yeah.
into the match. It does make sense, but
But I thought
yeah,
Zoe Stark had a great outing here. I think you'll see her continue to be a fixture in the women's division. I mean, I'm not saying
they
she's going to win a title soon, but
yeah, this is an example of someone they have built built right since they came up to the main roster. It was great having her work with Trish, for that little bit, and then because I feel like that kind of gave her that credibility, and then
yeah,
now it's like I don't question her going after Rhea Ripley
no,
and not being a threat. Like
yeah, mission accomplished, man. We talk about it, like going over, getting over, But Rhea, of course, retains her women's championship. No shocker there. And another champion will retain his title as the Ring General. Gunther will retain his Intercontinental Championship
can
against The
you
Miz.
just look at this photo though?
Yeah.
Like this photo, this is not like a GIF or like a video or like a 3D image or anything like that. In
Nope.
this photo, though, you can literally see the Miz's chest getting caved in. Like
Yep.
I swear to the good Lord above. Oh my gosh. The Miz did like his own little press conference on TikTok
Oh,
since he
yeah.
was a part of and he was like, I swear, that man hits harder than anybody any, anybody I ever went against.
Well, I gotta give the Miz credit too because they pulled off a pretty good matchup. Because there's moments where I was like, "Holy shit, Miz may win this damn thing," and they kept playing it a lot to like how he'd be tying the record of Jericho for most Intercontinental title runs.
Yeah.
So, I this was to me the pleasant surprise of the night. This was actually a lot more enjoyable match than I originally had anticipated.
Okay, think of Gunther's title reign. This hat, at least in the time I've been watching, I feel like this has to be one of his better feuds. Like, I'm not saying best match. I'm just saying, like, this story, like, had me hooked.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty interesting. You have like a guy who's considered one of the great Intercontinental champions of all time, and you have arguably the greatest Intercontinental champion of all time in Gunther, who just looks at him as like just like because the Miz, let's call spade a spade, as great as a Intercontinental champion as he was, that character. It's not. It's no Ring General. Let's just put it.
He is as a one Matt Menard would say, a sports entertainer.
There you go. And also at Survivor Series, we got to see Santos Escobar go one-on-one against Dragon Lee. Pretty fun matchup. Santos Escobar picking up the win, getting some huge heat there. That Chicago crowd too, man. They were kind of laying into him at times. But all in all, I thought Survivor Series was a fun show. I mean, it's going to be one we're talking about years to come, mainly because of like the returns. But I don't like I say the one thing I will take away is I thought the pacing was good. Like I think just having 5 matches worked for it. So and I'm just glad we're not getting like the pay-per-views in WWE like they're just overloaded because they have so much different talent. Like I have enjoyed that aspect of these pay-per-views of of this year so far. That's right, I say pay-per-views, not premium live events. Damn it! But all in all, what were your thoughts on Survivor Series?
It, for the most part, it was an okay show. It was good. Um, it definitely the things we're talking about are more so the moments and the returns.
Yeah.
Um, wasn't really any wasn't no 5-star classics on this card,
But that's okay
but
though. Like some
that
big
is okay.
moments
It is
nonetheless.
okay. Big moments and big returns and
Stuff we'll be talking about years to come.
yeah.
Well, speaking of things we may be talking about years to come, the AEW Continental Classic is officially underway. As this week we were revealed the rule set as well as all of the brackets. And like I say, the action, the first round got started this week. Now we have the Gold League and the Blue League. Now in the Gold League, we have John Moxley, Swerve Strickland, Roosh, Mark Briscoe, Jay Lethal, and Jay White. Now, all of these gentlemen had matches this week on Dynamite as John Moxley would pick up the win against Mark Briscoe. We would also see Jay White pick up the win against
Roosh.
Roosh. And then, of course, Swerve Strickland picking up the win against Jay Lethal. Yeah, this is like, okay, wow. Mox, to me, it's like between Mox, Strickland, and Jay White. Honestly, the guys who won their matches, like Swerve's like red hot right now. Mox is Mox, and like Jay White's another
Yeah.
guy who's one of those red hot guys. Who do you think's gonna win this Gold League?
Out of the Gold League,
I think it's got to be Swerve.
are you asking who I want to win or who I think will win? That's the
Okay,
question.
both.
I think Moxley's going to win. Or that's who I think is going to win. I would say want to win. I would say Swerve, and I think he has a good shot of it as well.
Yeah,
But man, it's really hard to bet against John Moxley in a tournament setup like this.
that's true. And as you can see, this is a round robin style tournament. How it works is there's 20-minute time limits. You earn 3 points by getting a pinfall victory or submission. You will get 1 point if it is a draw, and 0 points, of course, if you lose the matchup. And like I say, they do have a 20-minute time limit on all of the matches. Now that's the Gold League. Let's look at the Blue League. In the Blue League, we have Bryan Danielson, Brody King, Andrade El Idolo, Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, and Eddie Kingston. Now, on Collision, we did get to see Claudio in action against Daniel Garcia. Of course, Claudio picking up the win in a tremendous matchup, scoring 3 points. And then let's talk about it. Eddie Kingston and Brody King. Holy shit. This match was, talk about chest caving in.
It made me feel like I needed to go take an ice bath.
Yeah, this was pretty brutal, dude, but brutal in a good way, I'd say.
You knew it would be like when it
yeah.
was like.
But Brody King, kind of a little bit of a surprise here. Maybe not picking up the win against Eddie Kingston as he now is on the board with 3 points. And this is big for Eddie too, because remember, Eddie is putting both his Ring of Honor World Championship on the line as well as New Japan Strong titles on the line, as this is going to, with the Continental title, is form the Triple Crown title here in North America. It's very exciting. So I'm pumped to see how this tournament goes. I don't know. My heart of hearts, I want Eddie Kingston to win the blue group, but I don't know. I'm Danielson probably, because remember we still got Danielson and Andrade El Idolo in that tournament as well, and they have yet to compete. Which I believe they announced Danielson's first match is next week on Collision. I forget who they said it was against, but I do know he'll be wrestling next week on Collision. But nonetheless, Eddie Kingston, Brody King, they were our match of the week here on PW60. And like I say, the Continental Classic is underway, and all the rest of the year, all the way up until World's End, we'll see who will be in the finals of this Continental Classic. Looking forward to it, man. I love me a good round robin tournament. And we had some other returns in the AEW. The very nice and very evil Danhausen returned to AEW on Wednesday night. Man, but Pepsi Phil had to one up him Saturday night. Damn it! How ironic is it this too that the fact that like Danhausen also returned in Chicago too, as AEW was at the Wintrust Center arena on Wednesday night for Dynamite. But
Crazy. And more importantly, Danhausen has Jake Hager's purple hat.
yes, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes from. But it's great seeing Danhausen back on our screen, and hopefully we get to see him in the ring pretty soon. Because I mean, AEW fans really haven't been treated to a whole lot as far as his in-ring. We know about his antics, of course, outside the ring, but I'm telling you, in the ring, dude, he kills it. He's awesome. But we will see soon. But let's talk about the rest of Dynamite, my friend. And Dynamite, of course, as we all know, the Gold Rush, or excuse me, the Continental Classic got underway. For me, honestly, outside of that, can we say the moment of the night was Timeless Tony Storm? Oh my God, that was just freaking incredible. Receiving the award for the AEW Championship, just her even getting the music played off like to interrupt her speech, and oh my God, B-roll. How much do you love Timeless Tony Storm?
Oh, I love it. And you know I'm a sucker for the details. And she said, and I quote, all of those little Tony Storms out there who want to be me, you will never be me. Mariah May's face.
Yep.
Yup.
Very, very interesting. Also, we got to see MJF and Adam Cole in the ring together. And of course, we did get a match set up for World's End, which we'll talk about here in just a moment.
And we saw the devil.
The devil did show up for a little bit. So, and then how about the rechristening of one Luchasaurus? No, it's not Luchasaurus anymore, B-roll. It's Kill Switch. What do you think of the new name change for Kill Switch? You don't like it, do you?
He's still an evil dinosaur.
Yeah, I think if they were going to do that, they should have took the mask away from it, in all honesty. But
maybe that's what it's leading to. I don't know.
Could be. And then, of course, Nick Wayne. And then crazy they were about to do the concerto to Nick Wayne's mom. But, of course, Adam Copeland comes out, saves the day. Hits a concerto on Nick Wayne. Looks like he may be out for an extended period of time, perhaps. And then let's, if you fast forward, I know we're kind of jumping around here, but Collision, he would do the same to Luchasaurus. So Adam Copeland's already taken out like Edge's, what are they calling the patriarchy? I think
henchmen, his monkey men, or whatever.
They're calling it like the patriarchy or something like that now. Anyways,
Christian Cage came up with a lot of names during that time.
Yes.
I forget what he called Nick Wayne. Was it Prodigy or
the Prodigy? Yeah, but Adam Copeland did go ahead and challenge Christian to a match at Collision next week in Montreal. So we'll have to see what happens this week on AEW television if he accepts the challenge. But like I say, man, loaded Dynamite. It's December the 7th. So like it wouldn't be this one, it'd be the next one.
Yeah.
So whenever they're in Montreal. Anyways. Let's talk about Rampage. Of course, Rampage, they went up against Survivor Series. AEW did, as they did a 3-hour show. They did Rampage followed by Collision. I still don't understand that. Just call it Collision or something. Anyways, the big story out of this is the fact that Wheeler Yuta has defeated Katsuyori Shibata for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. And it does appear like Shibata will be taking some time away from the ring. And the red Mr. Enthusiastic Wheeler Yuta is your pure champion. Yay.
Hey, he is less of white bread than Steve Maclin.
Barely. And of course, we talked about Collision. We did talk about the Adam Copeland challenging Christian. The House of Black was all over this show. Of course, in tag action. Also kind of coming after FTR after their matchup. And hey, man, what about what Aleister Black had to say? Pretty much that FTR has no friends. And we got to see Julia Hart.
Who's Aleister Black?
I did it again. Malachi Black. Don't sue me in NXT and WWE.
It's
Um,
okay.
Anyways, and then Julia Hart in action against Lady Frost for the TBS Championship. Like I say, this is a very pro House of Black show. Love that. And
mean-
Keith Lee going up against Lee Moriarty too.
Yeah, I mean, House of Black pretty much runs Collision.
Yeah, which I love, dude. I think that's the
Yes.
way it should be because why is that B-roll? Because the house
always
always
wins.
This is true. Well, hey, we mentioned it. World's End, we do have an update for that card. We do have one match official. Samoa Joe is going to be cashing in on his return matchup for the AEW World Championship as he's going to challenge MJF at the Nassau Coliseum in MJF's hometown of Long Island, New York. Not surprised we're
Beautiful
seeing
Long
this match.
Island, New York.
Not surprised we're seeing this matchup. I think it'll be interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see if where we go, where we're at with the devil by this time frame.
Yeah, it's funny you say that and where we're at. If I could just have a quick word with Tony Khan.
Yeah,
Tony Khan, do not hit the panic button. You do not need to hit the panic button here. You have a good thing going with this devil thing. Just because CM Punk came back, do not hit the panic button and debut who the devil is this Wednesday on Dynamite. You have a great thing going. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go. And hey, it's that time of the show. We need to get a little spicy around here. Let's go Spicy Guac with Spicy Duke.
Spicy Guac proposing the question of why Athena has the O-face as her finisher, but for some reason Keith Lee did not keep the name Big Bang Catastrophe, because we know what that stands for. Yeah, you slick. But seriously, Spirit Bomb's pretty cool though. But that O-face, baby. Oh, baby.
Big. Oh, I got it. Well, hey, also, we got to go back. I mean, I know we've already talked about WWE, but let's talk about Monday Night Raw this past week, too. As it was the go-home show for them in the Survivor Series. The one thing I really liked and took away from this, I really enjoyed that Xia Li Becky Lynch match. And I'm enjoying, Xia Li's, that they're actually using her now on TV. Because she also had another match on NXT, which we'll talk about here momentarily. Also, we got to see Shinsuke Nakamura in action against Chad Gable. Also, of course, Drew McIntyre going up against Jay to get the advantage for War Games. But Raw, good show building up to Survivor Series. And of course, the night before Survivor Series was Friday Night SmackDown. And a lot of story kind of playing there with the damage control and the whole Charlotte and Becky, will they, won't they kind of deal. I like seeing Pretty Deadly on TV. And how about, hey, we got to talk about that. What's going on with Team Sheamus here, dude? The Brawling Brutes, if you will. Because it looks like Ridge Holland's done with working with Pete Dunne. That's right, I said Pete Dunne, Butch.
That's right. He doesn't want to work with Butch anymore. He wants to work with Pete Dunne. That's what it is.
That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. And they also, we did find out that Carlito would be injured by Santos Escobar taking him out. And that's where we found out we got the Dragon Lee change. But great
Honestly,
SmackDown.
I kind of think that was a good change because I wasn't super excited for Carlito Santos Escobar.
Yeah.
No offense, Carlito, you're a beautiful man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then also we got to see if L.A. Knight, in action going up against Austin Theory. Perfect show to go home right before the night before the Survivor Series. But we talked about Xia Li. Let's talk about NXT from this past week. Xia Li with that showdown with Lia Valkyrie for the NXT Women's Championship. Of course, she jumped her beforehand, but then we got the match later in the night. Now, of course, Lyra would retain her NXT championship. But like I say, dude, I'm loving seeing Xia Li actually be used on television as a badass. So I hope this kind of continues on, like on all the rosters, because I feel
Yeah.
like she's been such a wasted talent for so long. It's just ridiculous.
You
Hey,
know, a fact that I love is kind of how we have this Iron Survivor tournament going thing, as well as the Continental Classic. It's kind of nice having like two like kind of like mainstream tournament type.
yeah,
Very different.
but fun.
I
Tournaments can be
yeah,
fun. So sometimes they're redundant, but these tournaments, like the setup for these, is it's pretty cool. I'm for it.
like the
Um,
Iron Survivor, like the kind of like like the win and you're in,
yeah,
type deal, kind
yeah,
of like a
because
March
you got
Madness type of
yeah,
feel.
because you had Blair Davenport qualify by defeating Thea Hale on NXT, and then we also got to see uh, how about the Josh Briggs Carmelo Hayes? You a little surprised with that outcome? Because of
Well,
course we got to see Lexis King come out, and it looks like we're getting a Carmelo Lexis King feud. I'm assuming.
that's what it looks like. And we did see Noam Dar successfully retain his NXT Heritage Cup. I'm talking
Sheesh.
I'm talking about it because I know you do not like the Heritage Cup
Nope. Sheesh.
and
And
you don't
plus,
see the
Chad
beauty
Gable should have won.
you don't see the beauty of it. But
Yeah, sure. Anyways, NXT solid show once again this week. This was interesting. You remember we've been talking about this whole NWA going to the CW, and then it's like, nah, because NXT's going there. Well, guess what, B-roll? NWA Power just showed up randomly on the CW app, as you can now catch replays of NWA Power. At least I think the last 8 episodes. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of this. Like, a little surprised, but maybe is this a temporary thing? Is it like maybe they did have the deal like with NWA and it fell through because of the bullshit they did at the pay per view? I don't know, man.
all I want to know is why did they put so many R's at the end of Power? That's all I really want to know. But
Yeah, it's true. So maybe you can ask Billy next time you see him. But
I will.
hey, if you want to watch some NWA Power, you can now watch it on the CW app. And remember, that's the app, not on the channel itself, but on the app. You can watch NWA Power. Well, hey, it was a big weekend for pro wrestling. Not only was Survivor Series going on, the annual WrestleCade took place this past weekend in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's an incredible series of events, incredible show they had Saturday night. A tremendous amount of talent there. Like, it's like one of the best conventions in wrestling going today. And of course, WrestleCade being in Winston-Salem, you knew GCW was going to have to make an impact, and they sure did, as they had Effie's Big Gay Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving, which I thought this was a great show. I watched it, dude. It was freaking hilarious. Um, any of the shows, any of the Effie's Big Gay brunches, especially. Let me tell you this: if you ever get a chance to go to one in person, you have to go. It's an incredible, awe-inspiring experience.
And
If
and
not,
I, and I
watch
will
it
s- and I will say this: even if you think it's like not necessarily your cup of tea, just go, and I swear you'll have the time of your life.
for reals, dude. For reals. But GCW also hosted their GC WrestleCade show this past weekend at WrestleCade. Some tremendous matchups there. Matt Cardona going up against Speedball Mike Bailey. An awesome matchup with Masha Slamovich going up against Jordan Oliver. That was a very fun matchup. Billy Starks challenged Cousin Blake for the the GCW World Championship. Of course, Blake Christensen did retain. Dude, there's a 6 spot in that matchup where like Blake like is holding a door, or I'm sorry, Billy's holding up a door and Blake runs into her and like she hits right into the barricade. It looks sick, dude, but she's okay. Um, Also got to see Mance Warner and Joey Janela in a brutal matchup. Let me tell you about something that you'll have fun with, folks. Mike Jackson, Santana Jackson was
Uh,
fucking great.
I was waiting for it. I was just
So
waiting
good.
for it.
But B-roll, as great as this card was, for me, honestly, the highlight of the show, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's Insane Clown Bussy. I marked the fuck out for this. This was freaking hilarious. It's Violent J teaming up with Effie and Alley Catch to go up against the Mortons and George South. This just seeing them in like the clown makeup's what made it for me, man. I was just like, holy shit, this is so good. So good. Like Effie in ICP makeup, it kind of looks natural. He kind of looks like, okay, I could totally see him being a juggalo. You look like you're lost there, B-roll. Oh, does Effie's daddy? It's okay. Is Effie scaring you?
Yes,
Are you afraid of the insane clown posse? Are you a juggalo?
I'm afraid of all clowns.
Yes. Oh. Well, nonetheless, MJF. We got a little bit of an update on an injury that he sustained. Of course, that hip getting out of socket when he did that brutal elbow drop through the broken table at Full Gear. It does appear like he's still going to be okay and to work at World's End. But still, man, he's walking around with a cane and stuff. Like it's just crazy to see. Like you talk about like a character's evolution, like from when he started this year to like now as active he is and throwing his body like caution against the wind. It's just nuts, man. What are you chuckling about over there? I'm bringing clowns back.
No, don't bring the clown back. I was chuckling because I was remember him walking the cane. He kind of like walked with it like like a pimp cane. Still had
Oh
that
yeah.
still had that swagger going on. And who's been the one encouraging him to do all these outlandish, take these risks? It's Adam Cole.
The devil. The devil. He was the devil. Well, hey, PWI Pro Wrestling Illustrated put out their top 100 list of tag teams for 2023, and no surprise, FTR has topped the list. I mean, like I say, it's FTR. I mean, they're the greatest of all time. They're the goats, right? They're at least for right now. Interesting enough, the Usos weren't even in the top 10. Are you surprised with that?
Well,
I mean, yes, they did
yes
break up
yeah,
at the end of the year, but
yes
I
and
mean,
no.
still.
And if you think about it, though, a lot of their stuff, their recent stuff, it hasn't been just them as a tag team. Even when they were still with the
Yeah,
Bloodline.
but you know what? The Usos wrestled in the main event of WrestleMania this year. The Usos wrestled against Roman Reigns and Solo and defeated them by pinning Roman in the main event. They should have easily been on the top 10. I don't understand that.
You're not wrong.
Here's the thing. I love Aussie Open, but I don't think they should have been number 2. I think that's a little high.
No.
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens coming in at number 3. They probably should have been number 2 in all honesty. I'm a huge New Japan guy. I mean, I got my New Japan swag on right now. Bishamon at 4, Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto. I don't agree with that. I think their tag team is just kind of thrown together, and they've been champions for the past couple of years. Are in that scene. I'm not a fan of those guys, honestly. Their hot take. My hot take for this week is their Bushiman. I don't think should have been in the top 10. The Acclaimed was at 7. Ahead of them, you had the Motor City Machine Guns and ABC from Impact. The Judgment Day came in at 8. Damage Control at 9. And how about this? 7 up. You and Nani Takahashi from Stardom rounding out the list. But that wasn't the only list of tag teams that come out this week, as Dax Harwood would list his 10 greatest tag teams. And there is a team missing from here that got a lot of people talking, B-roll.
There's a couple of teams missing.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people talking about. But you've got the Midnight Express, Arn and Tully, the Blame Busters, the Road Warriors, the Rock and Roll Express, the Hart Foundation, Edge and Christian, the Hardys, the Briscoes, the British Bulldogs, and Gene and Ole Anderson, the original Minnesota Wrecking Crew. No Dudley Boys. A lot of people talking about that.
Yep. Well, in one half of the greatest working tag team on all time are on the planet.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah.
No Dudley Boys on there.
no Steiners, no Harlem Heat. We could go on, but it's still a
could.
pretty damn solid list, though. I'm not gonna lie.
It is, and when you look at Dark or Dax Harwood, like I could see those being his favorite teams.
Yeah,
with
those
his
are like
style.
classic teams. Well, hey, speaking of teams, it's looking like Gallus is getting called up to the main roster. I'm pumped for this. I've always been a huge Coffee Brothers fan, as well as Wolfgang, ever since like their days in ICW. These guys are awesome. Big brawling brutes. I'm here for it. But this is the one that gets me. Oh, go ahead.
Do you know, is it all of Gallus or is it just like
I believe it's all of Gallus.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all of them. So, but we're also hearing rumors that the Authors of Pain may be returning to WWE, Akam and Reza. I don't know, man, how I feel about that. Like, I never really didn't not like the Authors of Pain. They're just kind of there. A lot of controversy with them trying to do their own promotion and it, failing miserably. But that's another story for another time. But kind of just completely came out of the blue that the Authors of Pain may be returning to the WWE. Pretty random, if I do say so myself. Speaking of
I
random,
think there were some reports even as soon as Survivor Series.
oh, was there? Okay.
I thought.
Well, speaking of random, let's go to Brian with Brian's House of Random and his random moment of the week.
Hello, yeah, sitting in the car of Random, and I finally got to see the barber. He had an opening, and if you know anything about me, the barber is me. Don't have the hat on at the moment, but there we go. Brian's House of Random back again for the random moment of the week. Back again, missed last week. Extremely covered up with the work schedule. Working a lot of overtime. That schedule is done. Back to normal now, at least for now. So here we go again after missing last week. And I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday. If you celebrated Thanksgiving, hopefully you ate all the turkey and especially the cranberry sauce. Oh, yes, cranberry sauce. Give it to me, boy. Give it to me now. Woo! Yeah. All right, so I'm going to continue for the next several weeks until we run out of this. The series about factions and your ultimate versions of them to build them. So here we go. We're going to move into the early 2010s. We're looking at 2010 and part of 2011 at a faction that should have been much bigger if not for some bumbling by a certain boss and somebody you can't see, if you know what I mean. I'm talking about the Nexus. Should have been so much bigger. So, of course, we know there was the original Nexus with Daniel Bryan at the very beginning. Then when he left, there was the main 7. Then the new Nexus with CM Punk and several others. So what I want you to do is do a combination, or however you want to do it, pick 7 people from both forms, or if you want to do just the original 7 and keep it as that, that's fine. It's up to you. But build your ultimate version of the Nexus. As mentioned, you can mix those or pull in somebody from another wrestling promotion to put into a certain spot and tell me why you have them there. So build your ultimate Nexus with 7 members. Are you going to stick with Wade Barrett and CM Punk together? Are you going to stick with Michael Tarver? Are you going to kick him out? What are you going to do? I'm curious. Let me know. Put it in the comments below and have a great rest of your day.
Man, the Nexus, don't get me started on how that got fumbled and failed miserably, and it should have been so much better. But anyways, we love Brian. I love the Nexus. You know what else we love? We love our Wrestle Talk content creators. And this week, our Ruby Ringside Wrestle Talk content creator of the week is one Chrissy Tina 16. She is a pretty cool creator. I have always been impressed with her because like she's super positive. She always has like positive vibes, great takes on pro wrestling. I've never really hear any like anything negative or anything like that from her. Like she just spreads like nothing but positive vibes. So
And you know what I got to say? I'm noticing here. I didn't notice this earlier, but she's under 1,000. So
that's right. I was
Let-
gonna say she's under 1,000. We need to get her to 1,000, folks. So if you're not following her, you need to give her a follow right now.
let's make the magic happen, y'all.
That's right.
Let's make it happen.
And Chrissy Tina 16 is our Ruby Ringside Wrestle Talk content creator of the week here on PW60. Also this week, B-roll, we found out $7 Productions is going to be producing a WCW docuseries. Now, I would assume this is going to be somehow affiliated with Peacock. I mean, especially considering WWE has all the footage and the rights to WCW, but um, I'm pumped for that. I know we got a lot of friends. I'm talking to you, Dad Hat. Or I'd be pumped to see this documentary series. What about you, B-Roll?
Hey, I am a sucker for more content, and I love the docu-series type deal. It's not necessarily going to be just like a documentary, but
Yeah,
docu-series. Like
yeah,
I can get down with that.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And Mr. B-Roll, we're coming up on our last story, and I'm so excited about this. We started out on a little bit of a maybe looked at as a negative, but like, you know what? Everything happens for a reason, folks, because our last story is God answering so many of the IWC wrestling fans' prayers, my prayers specifically as well. Ryback is retiring from pro wrestling. Yes, it's finally happening, B-Roll. We've manifested it. He is going to officially retire from pro wrestling because
Na-
CM Punk did return to the WWE.
Now he's already backpedaled super hard on this.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
He's already backed out.
No! Don't you
Yes.
take this away from me! You don't take this away from me! Listen here, you bald-headed, fucking roided out piece of fucking Gorilla Glue garbage motherfucker! You retire from pro wrestling! If we're gonna put up with the CM Punk stuff, then you are gonna stay fucking retired. I don't want to see your fucking spandex wearing fucking punk ass in any type of wrestling ring ever fucking again. You fucking moron! You big fucking goof. I'm done with you, and I'm done with this, B-Roll. We've come to the end here. I was so happy in accepting the CM Punk return, and now you're telling me Ryback's gonna wrestle. Just close out the show, damn it. I'm done.
All right. Well, as he continues to have a meltdown and probably needs therapy now, I'm Mr. B-Roll from Cole TV. He is XLJ the OG, and we'll see you next week on another episode of PW60.